Hello everyone. Welcome to Digital Controllers Tactical Control Arm's first video on the YouTube channel. Woo! Yay! My name's Generic. I'm a instructor with TCA, and today I'm going to be going over the first lesson in our newly updated TCA syllabus. This is TACAD-01, Introduction to Tactical Control. So, I feel like something that we want to do getting started is give you just an idea of what tactical control does. There's a lot of little bullet points here, but generally, the main thing that you want to think of yourself as a support role. You're the guy that's supposed to be helping, making sure that the mission gets done, making sure that everyone gets home safe, all the hostiles are splashed, all the SAMs are destroyed, all that bunch, just to make sure that you hit all of your commander's intent points um, to get the mission done. But as it says here, we want to make sure that the mission's done, everyone gets home safe, right people get splashed, any additional targeting or threat information that might be applicable for pilots, you might want to give them to that as well, and coordinate with our wonderful, lovely people over in ATSA, no matter how weird they may be. Make sure that they don't get mad at us, because quite frankly, we still want to stay within DC. But anything else? In the case that we need to do C-Star, we can always do that. And essentially any other support roles that we might need to be filling, we can do that. But generally, you just want to see yourself as the guy that just points out everything to make sure that everyone's aware of where they need to be and aware of what needs to be shot at. So I guess moving into how we do it, at least with tactical control, there are two types, positive control and procedural control. At least within DCS, the way that everyone basically understands the idea of an AWACS or a JSTARS or whatever sort of tactical control that people do nowadays would be positive control. This is basically something, or excuse me, the form of control that would be done with contact either with your eyes or in the case that us lovely tactical controllers are in E2s, E3s, and E7s, we're going to be using radar. Primary through a radar, well, a radar contact, and secondary through maybe a data link track or something like that. This is generally 9 times out of 10 what you're going to be doing as a tactical controller, but every once in a while you might have that one group, or maybe you have a server issue that causes you to need to refer to procedural control. In the case of procedural control, as it says here, aircraft cannot be positively identified. So essentially, you will take a fix that a aircraft gives you. Let's say that Viper 11 is bullseye 320 for maybe 11, tracking north at 300 knots. Essentially, what your controller is going to do is they're going to take that position, they're going to take that heading, and they're going to take that ground speed, and just continuously plot points with time. That's just very time consuming, but it's always well, radar going out is always a certain threat that you can expect in modern battlefields nowadays. But at least within DCS, you shouldn't see this too often, so I think you can rest assured that it's not going to be very big of an issue. And I guess moving into the types of tactical control that we do here over at DCTCA, the first two are stuff that we specialize in. Number three, we're thinking of starting something up. We have some documents prepared and we have some friends in other places, but as of now, we don't particularly train it, but that's fine. We always have other resources that we're happy to help you with. So, identification control, also known as a fighter allocator, is basically just dealing with the administrative side of a mission. They can handle check-ins, mission information, any sort of bomb damage assessments, and anything that's really important or critical to the mission as a whole. This is usually staffed by an officer who would be essentially more or less in charge of all the other weapons controllers that would be under um, his or her overwatch, essentially. So any critical information, like let's say Hornet 1 flight is missing a jet, and maybe they're a critical seed flight, and having -1 cuts down 75% of the seed in a certain package. Generally, you would want to give that to the identification controller or the fighter allocator, just because they'll know best how to essentially excuse me, restructure that mission to make sure that it goes well, or in the case that we don't have enough forces anymore, he or she is the one that can call that mission off. But getting into what goes under fighter allocations are the weapons controllers. These are the people that are essentially within DCS, the person that you're talking to within the AWACS. It's a person that'll give you brawl calls, bullseye calls, air to ground tasking, and oh no, there's an SA6 bullseye 320 for 99. That's probably the guy who will tell you that. Generally, their main idea is just to provide not exactly situational awareness, but more of like targeting information or strike tasking or any sort of information about a pop up or a briefed threat. That's the idea behind the weapons controller. They're basically just putting warheads on foreheads, and in the case that something comes up, they'll let you know. And terminal attack control, or forward air control, performed by JTACs and FACAs. This is more of a boots on the ground sort of control, more done by Air Force and not Navy, excuse me, Air Force and Army operators. This is more or less a person on the ground that just a person on the ground with the radio that says, "Hey, Hornet One, can you strike this tank over here?" That's basically what he does. I know this is a gross oversimplification, and somebody will definitely yell at me in the comments for this, but I am very much happy to be corrected because it's a facet of control I myself am not too familiar with, but I'm very happy to learn more about. And before I spit too many more lies, I think we should go ahead and move on. So, as we all know, DCS is not the greatest sim in the world. Law ATC is also not the greatest program in the world. It may do some stuff great, there are also things that it may not do too well. And as always, with multiplayer servers, there were a lot of bugs and issues that are just intrinsic to how the simulator works. And us as controllers, we always need to be prepared to deal with that. In the case that there's either a freeze or a lot ATC crashes, or God forbid, lot ATC freezes but the server is still up, you need to be able to essentially deal with that in a timely manner, let your pilots know of either a change to your control or the dropping of your control in the case that any sort of server issue like this happens. Um, it's just something that we have to deal with, and hopefully it's something that we shouldn't encounter too much now as we go on with more updates to DCS's netcode and LawATC's features, but it's always something that we need to plan for. And another thing that we should always deal with within DCS is pilots who may not know everything about essentially flying under another person's control. A lot of pilots nowadays don't exactly know how to use bullseye correctly, and quite frankly, that's fine. DCS is not meant to be a simulator to all people. Some people may just want to fly it for fun and don't have time to learn something like that. And us as controllers, we need to be able to accommodate them because our job is not to flex that we know everything about how to control an aircraft. We need to be able to not show them how to do it, but we need to be able to control them effectively to make sure that they can get done their mission. Excuse me, they can get their mission done without any sort of hiccups or arguments happening over the frequency. Because quite frankly, that's a lot of time wasted and a lot of times can get people killed, which we controllers do not want. So in the case that maybe you have a newer, maybe Hornet pilot or something that doesn't know how to use Bullseye, or maybe isn't perfectly familiar with how a BVR timeline works, always be accommodative to him and just try to help him out a little bit. In fact, just being nice can always inspire them to learn a little bit more about their aircraft. So trust me, if someone's being a little bit annoying on frequency, please don't yell at them. Trust me, they'll sort it out eventually. But I think that is the end of TACAD-01 and 02, which I will be recording 5 minutes after this. Yeah. we're going to be going over a basic introduction to radio telephony. We're going to be cracking open the manuals a little bit. It's not going to be too much studying, but trust me, you won't want to miss it. And with that, generic out.